My parents won't let me, 24 female, go and grow up. I graduated college, I'm engaged, and I have a fantastic job. After I got engaged, I planned on moving in with my fiancé, and my parents would not let me. They screamed at me and my fiancé about how we were making a mistake and we needed to enjoy our engagement and not act like we were married. We conceded to keep the peace, and I continued to live with my parents. 2 months ago, I moved out because my parents weren't taking pandemic seriously. My fiancé has permanent lung damage from childhood illness, so COVID would be devastating if he got it. So I moved out. I am supposed to get married this month. We had been planning on it for 1.5 years. We moved the reception to next year so we could celebrate with friends and family safely, but we still plan on getting married this year. Nothing fancy, just at the courthouse. My parents knew this the whole time, and now they are freaking out about it. My mom keeps harassing us to not get married until next year, saying we might change our minds or find someone we like better, which is super insulting. She also is acting like we just randomly decided to get married, even though we have talked about it for months, over a year. My dad is just sad about it. I have no idea if this is normal parent behavior, but it's too much. How can I tell them that I am getting married this month and try to keep down the drama? I want them to be there, but I don't need their crap or nonsense. Edit. One of the big reasons I don't cut them off or want to piss them off is because if I do, they will cut me off from my siblings. I'm especially close to my baby sister, so being cut off from her would be very sad. A little over a year ago, my parents' relationship was rough. My mom went to visit him at work one day and saw him talking to 2 female coworkers who she already knew and didn't like. She was mad about it and vented to me about it. Somehow it spiraled and she decided he was cheating on her with one of the female coworkers and would talk to me about it non-stop, even though I told her it was ridiculous. Anyways, when she confronted my dad about it, like 6 months after she saw them talking at work, they fought, and to get out of it, she told my dad I convinced her he was cheating and I kept pushing and she couldn't help but believe me. Which is not true. My fiancé, sister, and brother all had heard her going on about my dad cheating, and know it was her. My father believes my mom, and now our relationship is ruined. Me and my dad are working to fix the relationship, but this is standing in the way, and I don't know what to do. We have all told him it wasn't me who started the rumor, nor did I have anything to do with my mom thinking he was cheating, but he doesn't want to not believe his wife. I'm sorry this is a wild ride, but the title says it all. My parents are super controlling. I confronted them like a week or so ago and told them I was getting married this year, that I am an adult and I get to make adult decisions, and I hope they will come to the wedding, but if not, that's on them. My dad broke down and said he wanted a better relationship with me and my fiancé, 27 male. My mom was just mad that I had the audacity to speak to my parents that way. Mind you, I was super calm and diplomatic, and my mother accused me of spreading lies about them and trying to blame all my problems on them. My dad told me he was going to work on her. This past weekend, my dad bought a bunch of pumpkins and invited me and my fiancé to come carve them with my family. We had a great time and even decided to stay for dinner. At the end of dinner, my parents told us they wanted to work on our relationship and had scheduled a family counseling meeting after work on Monday. We reluctantly agreed to go because it seemed like they were genuinely trying and it would be nice to have a moderator. Well, we went, it was yesterday, and it turns out the counselor was fake, and my parents basically paid this lady to agree with them and gaslight me. They tried to convince me I was unstable and possibly severely mentally ill, and I needed to call off the wedding and move back in with them immediately. The fake counselor lady just kept saying how perfect and caring my parents are and that they have financial means to take care of me. I ended up freaking out at them, telling them that they were not perfect parents and they were super dysfunctional and that what they just did was not okay. My fiancé, who was there, started yelling and defending me. When he did so, my parents started insulting him and told him he doesn't know me and he doesn't have the ability to take care of me. The crap show ended when my mom told everyone in the room that I was delusional and said that last year I fantasized that my dad was cheating and told all my siblings. This was a real event, except it was my mother who thought my dad was cheating and told everyone. When she confronted my dad about it and he got furious, apparently she told him I made it up and convinced her he was cheating. I ended up pulling up screenshots of messages that she had sent that showed she was clearly the one who thought he was cheating and was trying to convince everyone else he was the bad guy. My fiancé was able to back me up and told everyone about the times my mom went off to him about how she thought my dad was getting B jobs in the back of his office. My mom ended up admitting that she contributed to the cheating drama, but she said she thought I made it worse. All I did was listen to her nonsense like I have my entire life. We all ended up storming out after that. I'm super devastated right now. I truly thought my parents changed and wanted to fix our relationship, and then they did this to me. I also can't believe my mother tried to use me as a scapegoat when she believed my father was cheating, and instead of being honest, she threw me straight under the bus. I know I should go no contact, and most likely will. Everyone is asking how I know the therapist is fake, so edit. I'm not 100% sure the counselor is fake, but I am 99% sure she isn't licensed or broke all code of ethics, because I have seen therapists in the past, and this lady was nothing like them. She didn't ask us our names, there was no paperwork. Every therapist and counselor I have ever seen had me sign several pages to tell me my rights and that I consent to treatment, as well as disclosing medical history and all that other stuff. She didn't have us take turns talking. She didn't even try to hear my side of things. She let my parents interrupt me and her and my fiancé. She said a few things that were red flags, like when I said I was working through childhood trauma, she asked if I had been R, and then implied that only R victims could have trauma. And she kept bringing up how well off my parents were, and that they had the means money-wise to help me. So kind of an update from my parents paying a fake therapist to gaslight me. We found the name of the therapist and found out she is a licensed counselor who works through a Christian group, and we filed a complaint with the Attorney General and will be writing a letter to the board of the group she works for, even though I doubt they will do anything. Also, last Thursday, my mother trapped me as I was getting out of work and tried to save me from myself. After a huge fight, she went home crying, and I felt even worse than I did before. I am incredibly mad at my parents, like super mad. I'm so hurt and bitter and sad. Well, today is my birthday. Let's not talk about it. My birthdays have always been terrible. My mom and dad both want to celebrate with me. They keep texting me and posting on my Facebook. I don't want to even think about them. They came to my work this morning and left a gift at my desk before I came in for the day, and want to make dinner reservations this weekend. They are acting like they didn't just pay some lady to try to convince me I'm severely mentally ill and need to come live with them. Another story about my parents. So long story short, after I graduated college, I moved back home with my parents, and in less than a year, I gained like 50 plus pounds and spiraled into a terrible depression. I basically laid in bed and ate and slept all day and all night. My parents would make fun of me for getting fat and call me lazy, and made it nearly impossible for me to muster the motivation to get up and take care of myself. Luckily, I eventually found a job and started getting out of the house, but I still couldn't lose the weight I gained, no matter how hard I tried to diet and exercise, because I couldn't stop eating my feelings. Well, I moved out and lost a ton of weight without even trying. My old clothes are starting to fit again, and I feel fantastic. I had to stop by my parents' house to give my little sister something, and my mom saw me and became enraged that I lost weight. She said it wasn't fair. She has been on diets for as long as I can remember and never really loses any weight. And that I'm trying to make her look bad because everyone knows if you lose weight after leaving someone, it means they were the problem. I was like, yeah, I'm much happier now. I'm just frustrated that my own mother can't be happy that I'm happy. I'm mad that I can't see my family without being attacked and made to feel guilty. It's just not fair. So my relationship with my parents sucked, but recently it wasn't sucking so bad, so I was able to visit my sister more often. On Saturday, I went to hang out with her and do Christmas stuff, and she wanted to see my dog, so I brought him. My mother was being super friendly and was petting my dog, and then she started accusing me of things like getting secretly married, of being delusional and bipolar, everything she accused me of before. I told her that I have boundaries, and how she was treating me was not okay, so I was going to leave. She snatched my dog up, and I told her to give him back, and she wouldn't. She then threatened to have me institutionalized for being crazy. My dog eventually ended up hanging from its neck because she was throwing him about. He slipped his collar and we were able to get away. He was wheezing and choking and I had to take him to the emergency vet. I'm freaking out. I've been having a panic attack since Saturday night. I had to go back to my parents' house because I fled without my shoes or camera, which I need for work, and a few other things including my dog's collar and leash. I went when I knew it was just my father, and as soon as I showed up with my fiancé, my father texted my mother. It took us less than 7 minutes to get my stuff and put it into the car, which also happened to be how far my mother was away from the house. She flew into the driveway and accosted us. She chased me into my car screaming and I locked her out. She then proceeded to try to break my car window with her elbow. My fiancé tried to get into the car and she kept blocking him. Eventually, she was too distracted by trying to beat in my car window with her elbow that my fiancé was able to run around the car and we drove away. My mother running into the street screaming after us. My mother has been quite busy harassing me and my fiancé. She has called everyone we know or once knew, including my high school softball coach, my fiancé's middle youth pastor, schoolmates, etc., and told them me and my fiancé are crazy and she needs their help to save us. After being chased down the street by my mother, who little over a week ago tried to steal my dog to hold me, my fiancé convinced me to finally file a police report, so I did. The officer was sort of helpful, sort of not, but said situations like this don't get much better and involving the police is like throwing gasoline onto the fire. I literally don't know what to do. I go to bed scared my parents will break into my house or burn it down. Every time a car drives past my window, my heart stops. I am scared for my well-being. Do I have any options? So it's been about a month since I've gone no contact with my family. Since then, I've gotten several threatening messages, but I've changed my number and blocked them on everything. Anyways, I started getting notifications that my email and other account passwords are being changed, and it wasn't me changing them. My mother went to Verizon and got a copy of my old phone number's SIM card and is using it to verify and change my account passwords. I'm locked out of several accounts and no service is being helpful. Ugh. I'm currently locked out of my Microsoft account, all my streaming services, and an unused Twitter account. Has anyone gone through this, and what should I do? So my wedding and reception is tomorrow. It's going to be amazing and super fun, but I'm quite high-strung generally speaking, so I'm super stressed already. Some backstory. My cousin Jay and his wife recently split. Turns out they had an open relationship, but Jay decided he liked this woman A better than his wife and family. He had an affair for over a year and finally moved directly from his home with his wife and kids, 2 girls under 10, in with his side piece. Turns out he had had an emotional affair several years before that they went to counseling for and worked through. I'm crushed about this, honestly. His ex-wife, C, has been in my life as long as I can remember, and she is super close to me and my sisters. Her 2 girls are my absolute favorite, such kind, smart, independent little girls, and I love them so much. I always loved Jay and C's relationship and their parenting style and looked up to them. Learning that Jay walked from his marriage in the way that he did really shook me, and I couldn't be more disappointed in them both, frankly. C has told me recently about how difficult things have been for her because Jay and A aren't particularly nice to her and really rub it in their face that Jay is happy for the first time in a long time. Ouch. I had sent Jay an invite and not indicated a +1 for him, just himself. To be fair, I didn't give C a +1 either, as I thought it would be smoother. C was totally fine with it. I just really feel like the way they treated their marriage and Jay's current actions with A is just a total affront to the whole notion of marriage, which is what tomorrow is all about. RSVPs were due over 2 months ago. He never bothered to RSVP. I had to reach out to him directly when he didn't indicate a food option, and he responded with food options for both him and A. I had anticipated this might happen, so I knew an uncomfortable conversation was coming. I told him I didn't give him a +1, nor did I give C one. It was somewhat of a space thing, but also I didn't want it to be uncomfortable for anyone, and me, because I'm so uncomfortable with the whole thing. Jay pushed me a bit, and I compromised that she could come after dinner to the dance, and he agreed that that was a good compromise. We left it saying we were really excited to see each other. I live several provinces away. He texted a few days later and said both he and A would come just for the dance, which I totally understood, and I said I really appreciated the heads up. Then my aunt gets involved. She is calling my mom saying that everyone wants A there and that C said she wants her there because they are friends. Obviously a lie. My mom says that my aunt needs to talk to me. I never hear from her. She claims she didn't have my right number. These types of calls and texts from her to my mom continue for the next few weeks, up to today. Today she calls my mom and says if A isn't invited, she won't come. I obviously am furious, so my little sister, 25 female, calmly calls my aunt and explains that it is the day before the wedding. Jay never RSVP'd, there isn't room, and ultimately it was my choice. Quick important detail. My father passed away in a tragic accident almost 10 years ago. It became a defining element in my life. My dad and I were super close, and he was the most amazing person. He was loved in our community and brought balance to our extended family. He was literally the linchpin that held our family and social circle together, and the loss rocked our whole community. The loss deeply affected me for many years and has really changed me in so many ways. I'm finally back in a pretty good place, but it took a long time, therapy, and long periods of medications for depression and anxiety. I still miss him, and I struggle not to cry when I even talk about him. So this aunt is his sister. So back to my aunt on the phone with my sister. My aunt says to my sister some horrible things, including, but not limited to, if A can't come, I won't be coming, nor will Grandpa and Grandma. She didn't even talk to my grandparents. If your dad was still alive, he would side with me. He would be so disappointed in OP. I already have one son that can't come. My other one needs to be there. She had a son very tragically die as a young child from a condition before I was born. You're only doing this to punish Jay, which is cruel. I'm livid at this point. Everything is already done. Seating chart, tables, meal options, seating cards, etc. is already finalized. I'm having full bridezilla meltdown because I can't believe the audacity of it all, and I'm already crazy stressed and anxious about the whole thing. At this point, I am so emotional and hurt that I say, "Duck it, you win." I don't want to give my aunt the satisfaction, so I text Jay, who has been pretty decent about the whole thing, and I am blunt. I say that A can come because his mom said some ducked up things and I can't handle the stress and drama. He texts back and says he doesn't even know that his mom was doing this, that he fully planned to do dinner elsewhere and it was fine. We go back and forth and it's actually pretty nice, and I say I'll see him tomorrow. My sisters and mom and wonderful friends all pitch in for the next 2 hours to totally rework the seating, redo the seating chart entirely, and rearrange tables. I go out on the lake with some friends for a couple hours and I don't have my phone. I come back to 3 missed calls from her and a novel of text. She writes that she is sorry and that of course no one would ever consider not coming to the wedding and that it's all a misunderstanding because she was sending me texts several weeks to the wrong number. So here we are now. I will see her at the wedding tomorrow. I don't care that she was asking for A to come, and I'm super salty about her behavior and the ducked up things she said on the phone. My question is, what do I say to her? Part of me wants to cut into her and really give her a piece of my mind. Another part says don't even acknowledge her. Another part says take the high road. I just don't know.